It's scary as hell to put ourselves out there, an unfinished work or work that you don't know if it's finished or not. How do you know? What's the story? Maybe that's the better way to ask this question. What's the story do I need to tell myself or operate from that
Sure.
gives me the permission to show up a little less fearful?
Whatever you do in life, in work, in art, it's so important that it's fun. It's so important that it's fun. If it's not fun, if it's not fun, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. It goes back to the obsession question. What do you find exciting? And it's even like, yeah, you're right. You might not have to change your career. Like you might just need to find new inspiration in your career. Like, for example, going back to beginner's mind, you don't have to leave your career and find a new one to find beginner's mind. You can change your mindset to be open-minded and curious and make it interesting again, make it fun again, without having to quit your job. And because what some people do is they're always unsatisfied, so they're always quitting their jobs and they're going to the next one and they're finding the same problems and they're continuously in this cycle,
Or their relationships.
or relationships. Absolutely. So it's not about necessarily jumping ship when things get uncomfortable, but it's about how can I apply, I would say the two most important words that are coming through are playfulness and purpose. So whatever you're doing, apply playfulness and purpose. So if you're creating for social media, do you have playfulness and do you have purpose? I try to be very clear with my intention for social media, because social media it's a big conversation that everyone's having in the world, and it's a lot of chatter and a lot of noise and a lot of distractions and a lot of toxic opinions. Everyone's rushing to have an opinion on every topic. And I really try to step back and say, what is my voice in this conversation? What am I uniquely qualified to add and say that's going to be helpful, instead of flinging more fuel into the dumpster fire? So I show up with purpose and intention, but also playfulness. I think that, I work with a lot of creators who want to be, content creators, influencers, people who can make build a platform and a following on social media. And I tell them all, you have to find what makes you the most excited. If it's not fun, you're not going to stick with it. So like, everyone's got a different voice. So what is the most exciting for you? So like, for me, when I first started, like when my first book came out and I was, suddenly using social media to promote myself and to get my voice out there as a creator and as a, just a public persona, I remembered, because I didn't want to do video. Like, I felt pressure at the time. It was people like Gabrielle Bernstein and these other like self-help type authors, and they were all had these bubbly cheerleader type approaches, and they were very good public speakers, and like, that just wasn't me, and I couldn't fake it, but I'm like, what's fun for me? What's the most exciting thing that I can bring to this conversation? And I remembered as a kid how much I loved to draw, and how much I loved to like just to doodle. And just, I'm not a great drawer, but I like to doodle and, do some simple drawings. So my first Instagram posts were doodles, and I would, they were basically just like stick figures, and like there would be some captions, and I would like share insights and inspiration and wisdom through these little doodles. So that was something that I found fun. I wasn't forcing my creativity to look like someone else's. I was like, no, this is what I'm going to find the most fun. And if it doesn't matter if no one else is doing it. If you just try to copy someone else, it's not going to, number one, you're not going to have fun doing it. And number two, the audience is not going to feel that enthusiasm from you. So find what you love to do and show up with purpose and playfulness, and you're set.
Beautiful. I love that. And I love how you said it's purpose purposefulness as well
Yeah.
and playfulness as well.
Yeah.
And I think one thing to kind of add to that is playfulness looks different for everyone as well.
Absolutely.
It's like how purpose will look different, so is playfulness. For you, it is to doodle. For somebody, it might be doing a video. Somebody might be doing a podcast. Somebody might be doing their own unique thing that I don't even know what to comment on, right? So it's something that is an internal journey to ask yourself, I guess.
Absolutely.
The question of what does playfulness, or what is playful for me? What is it that I will enjoy creating?
100%. Listen, people ask, me, like, how do you go viral on Instagram or whatever? And there are a lot of people that go viral for completely different reasons. Some people are great at making videos and they just do video. They love to talk. They love to be seen. Some people just have their text on a white background. Keep it very simple. Let their writing speak for them. Some people share their lives and their travels and their social, lives, and you get almost like a behind the scenes look at that person's life story. Some people like to make memes. There are so many different ways. There's no one way to go viral. There's no one way to create content. It's so important to find your own authentic voice and to have fun with it, and that's going to look different for everyone.
What are some of the ways that you have found one can rediscover? Because I'm sure everybody has playfulness, but we get into the life and we go, it needs to make business sense. It needs 1 + 1 = 2. That kind of thing. We get into the math of the world, and that's how you forget playfulness.
Yes.
So how or what is it that you have found useful for such individuals who are in their rational mind?
Yes.
That need to justify what they're about to do next?
I am a big believer in being a student of life, and I like to be a sponge for information, because I think of consciousness as like soil in a garden, and the creative process for me is similar to gardening or farming. There are yin activities and there are yang activities. So the first thing you need to do is cultivate the soil. And it needs sunlight. It needs water. You need to plant the seeds. And then the crops will grow naturally. And the crops are our creative output. With the right conditions, the right inputs, that creativity is going to flow out of you naturally. And then the yang activities are things like, you harvest the crops, you cook them into a meal, you serve them. This is the making of the art and the presentation of the art. But it starts with how you're cultivating the soil. And that includes, what are you consuming on a daily basis? What comes in will come out. So you need to be very conscious about how you're cultivating your soil and make sure you're filling your cup with inspiration. You can watch the news all day and you can scroll mindlessly on social media all day, and you're not giving your soil the healthy water it needs to flourish. So I'm a big believer in seeking out inspiration, finding inspiration wherever you can. That could look like going to an art museum. It could mean reading books. For me, even though I don't make music, I'm obsessed with listening to music. And I'm always checking for new releases. And I always need new sounds to inspire me. And like a new album will come out and I'll just play it on repeat for a week. And it just fills me up. Because I want to I feel the vibrations of the music and I absorb them. And then, in some way, shape, or form, that impacts my writing because it gives me fresh energy to draw from. So wherever you find inspiration, it could be going to events, going to concerts, seeing public speakers. And I believe in not just sticking within your own field. So for example, I just wrote a book on creativity. I don't read books on creativity. I'm a big fan of Rick Rubin as a music producer. And he just released a great book on creativity. I have not touched it. I have not looked at it because it's so similar to what I'm doing. I rather be inspired by the source material, the art itself. So don't just stick to your own field. And like if you're a public speaker or a coach, don't just seek inspiration from Tony Robbins or whoever it is. Seek other influences so you can find your own unique blend of what you bring to the table.